Yeah, if there's ever a time you need the tiers, it's this week. I'm not one for cross-media criticism, but still, folks should check out the ESPN.com power rankings this morning because they are literally the standings. It's unbelievable. Like, folks, why write the article if you're just going to rank them by record? Here's an accurate depiction, bottom to top. Well, if shots fired, it's just the truth. Sorry, NFL Nation. All right, the bottom two rows don't matter. The top two rows of the bottom, still alive, but barely. Gonna have to win like 4 of your next 5. You don't get names. When you don't get names on your tiers, you know you're in trouble. All right, next grouping. A little copyright infringement by me. Panthers, Colts, Vikings, Niners. As Kevin Wildes would say, I'm watching. Could you make the playoffs? Any of you could. I didn't think you could a few weeks ago. Now all of you, I think, can. Get it together, group. Chargers, you've lost 3 of 4. Saints, you lost back-to-back games. Bengals, you lost back-to-back games. Steelers, you just tied the Lions, which counts as 3 losses. Get it together, group. All of you could still make the playoffs, but you got to get it together. All right, show me the next grouping. Here, because by the way, we are now up to the top 10 teams in football. Go respect. So I have real concerns about the rosters of these teams. The Ravens' defense has not been what it once was. I have concerns about the Patriots' offense as a whole. However, Lamar is turning into the greatest dual-threat quarterback ever. Belichick is the greatest coach ever. So either of those teams in a singular playoff game is going to demand respect of its opponent. That's why they are at the fringe of the top 10. Now we're at the top 8. Give me the next grouping.
Let's go.
This one's tough. 3 losses? Really? All of these teams, if you would have looked at their schedule before the start of the year and said today, November 18th, what's the maximum amount of losses they could have? You would say worst case scenario would be 3. And they all have 3. Now, they haven't been exactly the ones you would have expected. Like Tampa, you would have been like, well, if they're going to have 3 losses, they lose to Dallas. They beat Dallas, but then they lost to Washington. The Bills, you'd be like, well, if they're going to have 3 losses, they lose to the Chiefs. They beat the Chiefs, but they lost to the Jags. So these teams, we want to believe they're great, but the fact that they're all sitting at 3 losses right now is concerning. This one's tough. Injury alert. Listen, these 2 teams are excellent. However, Kyler has now missed back-to-back games. Derrick Henry's obviously done for at least the regular season, maybe the whole year. They deserve to be considered true contenders, but when you're both missing your best players, it's hard to put you up top with the top 3 teams in football. Give me the number 1 contenders. Now, I know what your immediate reaction is going to be. Nick, the Chiefs? You really have the Chiefs on the same level as the Packers right after they beat the Packers. Why wouldn't they be higher? Well, the answer is, I don't know if people know, the Packers were missing a key player or 2 in that game. So I think it's fair to have the Chiefs and the Packers on the same level. Also, Kansas City, right now, I said it Monday, I will say it again. If you let any playoff team in the AFC draft their AFC opponent, do you really think any team's picking to play the Chiefs before they pick the Titans? Picking to play the Chiefs before they play the Patriots? Maybe there's an argument that some people would rather play the Chiefs than the Bills, but you know who doesn't feel that way? Jacksonville, who beat the Bills. And then the favorites. Yeah. There's real bad rumors going on about what it means to be a favorite on the tiers. And Broussard might get to them. The Cowboys. Cowboys, 3-time. They're like Jack Nicholson at the Oscars. 3 times they've been atop the tiers. Cowboys, they had a hiccup game. They weren't ready for Denver. We're going to give them a mulligan. They responded to that by annihilating those scrappy Atlanta Falcons. They retake the top spot for the 3rd time this year atop the tiers. There it is, Broussard. I've got to say, I think the committee did great work. Committee was a little we met early yesterday because we all had to get to Barclays to do MVP chants for Steph. Yep. We started those, by the way, the committee, dual action committee. But I really think the committee did a great job. Your thoughts?
All right, Nick, you know this. Usually I rip your tiers to shreds. And as I'm watching you unveil level after level after level, I'm sitting here thinking, you know what? I'm shocked. These are actually good. I agree.
Thanks, buddy.
I agree. And the titles, too. The titles worked for the first time in a while. But then you had to blow it. And America might not understand yet where I'm going. So let me let you in on a little secret, America. You're looking at the tiers and saying, wow, Nick's got Dallas at number 1. He really is objective. He's not just blowing smoke when he talks about how objective he is. But America, sad to say, no. He is not objective. It's the same old Homer, Kansas City bias that we've always seen with the tiers. And here's why. Nick's tiers have become, as opposed to the Bud list, which inspires players to play their best football, Nick's tiers have become a death knell, a predictor of doom. All right, the kiss of death. Look at this, America. 6 of the last 7 teams at number 1 lost that week. 6 of the last 7. And guess who the Dallas Cowboys, number 1 this week in Nick's tiers, happen to play this weekend?
Kansas
I gotta
City
look.
Chiefs.
The Kansas City Chiefs.
I gotta look.
Oh, that's
Nick
great.
has just used his negative mojo of the tiers to sabotage the Dallas Cowboys and all but guarantee a victory for his Chiefs. The Chiefs will beat Dallas, rock it down because Dallas is number 1 on the tiers. And next week, that'll be interesting. Will Nick put the Chiefs at number 1 knowing that it's going to mean a loss? So, Nick, you had me at hello, but you lost me at goodbye with the Cowboys
Listen,
at number 1.
I don't believe in curses or
great.
black cats or stepping under ladders. I just believe in dripping in objectivity. So, all I know is this. I didn't realize the Chiefs played the Cowboys this week. Seems like a big game. We'll probably talk about it at some point. That is extra pressure on the Cowboys Wilds. It also means the Chiefs could be all the way back, but if you lose to the number 1 team in football, I mean, there's no shame in that. I mean, you lose to the best team in the league, So, I mean, there's a lot to juggle here. But overall, Wilds, I think Broussard's point is great job by committee. So thank you. I appreciate that on behalf of the committee. Your thoughts, Wilds?
Well, I agree about losing to the team at the top, like even if you take them to overtime like the Mac Jones and the Patriots did. So that retroactively you said that was a bad loss, actually a good loss. So here's the thing. Everyone's saying, oh, there's so much parity in this year. It's so weird. I can't figure out any team can beat any other team. Every team has got a bad loss. Do they, though? Are you sure the New England Patriots have a bad loss? Because I don't think they do. Let's look at the 7 AFC playoff teams, because I think your Patriots need to move up the tiers a little bit. Week 4, Tennessee loses to the Jets. Horrible. Chargers got blown out by the Ravens. Then the Ravens start feeling themselves. They got blown out by the Bengals. Then on Thursday, they were lost. Lamar's like, I don't know what's going on here. Lose to the Dolphins. Kansas City was shut out in the first half, even though Nick has turned the second half of that game, which was a blowout, into a good statistic. He lost 27-3. Buffalo was asleep at the wheel, went down to Jacksonville, lost. Steelers, I'm counting this as a loss. I don't count half a tie as half a win. I'm a glass half full guy in my real life, glass half empty guy when you're playing the Lions and you tie. So, Nicholas, where is the Patriots' bad loss? It doesn't exist. Oh, they lost to the Dolphins. Yeah, by 1 point, week 1 in Mac Jones' premier game. No one on the earth, literally, no one on planet Earth, from the North Pole to the South Pole, said, wow, horrible loss for the Patriots. Horrible, ugly, disgusting loss, 17-16 in Mac Jones' first. Oh, a horrible loss. No one said it, so don't try to retroactively say it. And here's why that statistic is important. All of those teams have some sort of Achilles heel, flaw, weird thing happening. The Patriots have not. They lost to a good Saints team. They lost by 1 point in Mac Jones' first game. They lost to the mighty Tampa Bay Bucks in Brady's worst game. And they lost to Dallas, who was at the top of the tiers, in overtime. Okay. That's it. So all these other teams have flaws, but the Patriots are running around there like Greek gods, and they don't have Achilles heels. Nice try. There's no Achilles heels to this team. We have no bad losses.
Okay.
It's true, and
This
you know
is
it.
such a fascinating thing. And we can do this. We could do this in a lot of walks of life. Like I've never been, as a teenager, I was never arrested. As long as you remove the time I was arrested. What? Huh? Can't do that. You can't say the Patriots have no bad losses as long as we remove the bad loss. You're right, Wilds.
It wasn't
in
a bad
the
loss.
moment. In the moment, it wasn't. But then when the Dolphins went 2 months without winning, can we show Wild's fancy graphic again? Because I don't know if you did this or if our production team, who is as embarrassed by this take as I am, just screwed you over with it. Show Wild's bad losses graphic and riddle me this, genius. The Ravens. So the loss for the Ravens against the Dolphins is a bad loss. But the loss for the Patriots against the Dolphins is not a bad loss. Oh, that's fascinating.
Yeah,
That's
it wasn't by
interesting.
1 point.
And you're also saying, so it's margin. Okay, got it. So the Chiefs losing by 3 scores to the Titans, who are 8-2, is a bad loss. The Patriots losing by 2 scores, by 15 points to Jameis Winston, not a bad loss. Interesting,
sorry.
fascinating.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to noodle over that one a little bit. And then,
Jameis.
if we're talking about bad losses, we should also maybe do
dark horse.
what is the single worst win any team has? I would argue needing a furious fourth
Texans?
quarter comeback to beat long-necked Davis Mills maybe counts. Because
I would
that's
argue
what the
Jordan
Patriots
Love,
need. So
I would argue.
You would argue-
Chiefs, Jordan Love. I would argue the Jordan Love
okay.
win. Everyone knows that.
Okay, they didn't need a
You're
comeback. They
counting
actually
that. I would
led.
try to
They
expunge
actually
that
led that
from the Chiefs
game
record.
from start to finish. Led the game for 56 minutes, but otherwise it's just a
How many
solid
points
take by
you
you.
scored? 50?
So listen, that's both sides of the ball, buddy. So here's the deal. That's fine. I agree. The Patriots are actually. I maybe should have them higher, Jenna, because if you remove all their losses, they're undefeated. Patriots are undefeated if you just remove the losses. So maybe they can go 16-0. Just remove the losses. What a ridiculous take.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.